Just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end. But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you. I'm hanging on by a thread.
All right, welcome friends to episode 6 of On Living, a podcast presented to you by thelivingperson.com. I'm your host, Jurell Cison, and today's episode is on Jesus. I don't know, I'm just kind of like making things up, but I wanted to comment on the specific moment that I had in class or at school this week. I had a former student drop by and wanted to chat. This person showed me their text message, and on the text message, he was talking with a friend who was quote-unquote sad. And he said, "Mr. Cison, what do you think about this text I got?" And this person texted my student saying, "How is it that you believe in God so strongly?" And I looked at him and I was like, dang, that's a tough question. Because, it's not, I don't know, like that question's so jam-packed. I think like what I was seeing and what I was feeling with that question is that, this person is maybe like wondering why my student has such a strong faith, or why my student is so joyful, or why my student is so peaceful, or how my student has such a strong faith, because they're sad and they think if they had a faith life, maybe things would be better. I think also like it reminds me of my own self when I would watch these people have a strong faith life, and I wanted one, but I didn't know how to get one, and I just felt for that person. But anyways, we had a long conversation, and he ended up asking me what I would say, and I said, give me some time to think about it. So I wanted to share with you my best response, and I think this could be good for everyone to answer if you're involved in ministry, or if you're a theology teacher, or if you are a church leader. So I have a few things written down that I wanted to mention. They're definitely not everything, but they're the things that I thought stood out. So thinking back to the initial question, how is it that you believe in God so strongly? I'm brought back to when I was 18. I was invited on a retreat. I went on the retreat, and Jesus captured my attention. And it's that simple. And like, it's so difficult to explain. Like I get goosebumps even thinking about the ways that Jesus captured my attention when I was 18 years old, with all this junk that I wasn't able to process on my own. I didn't know where to process it. I didn't have a great friend group, and Jesus captured me. There was a lot of things that happened before that moment. Like my family and friends. I grew up in faith, but that specific moment where my eyes were kind of opened and I realized that I could have like a future, dedicating myself to my faith. So Jesus captured my attention, and yes, like I waver, and sometimes other things will capture my attention for a moment. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, I know that the answer to all of my questions, the answer to all of my desires and yearnings, they lie in what Jesus offers. And I think that's a part of a reason why prayer and reflection is so important, because I think it's a capturing attention game. Like with all of the things, all of the brands, all of the commercials trying to capture your attention and trying to get you to subscribe and trying to get you to pay money and trying to get you to do this and that. There's so much trying to capture you that I think the moment that you stop and pray and reflect and think clearly, open yourself up to let God's voice in. I think at the end of the day, when I am thinking clearly, I know and I trust that all of my answers lie in what God has to offer. So that's the first part. And the second part is that as the years have gone on, I have surrounded myself with people that make me want to trust God even more. Just, as I got more involved in retreats and ministry events and helping out at my church, I just met so many good people. People that were just, straight up like, I don't even know. They were so good to me. They were able to, they reached out to me when I needed it. They identified certain things and talents that I could contribute. They pulled out like my greatness. They pulled out my potential. They pushed me and challenged me to be better. And I trusted them. They believed in me and I trusted them. And not only that, not just like the role model piece, but I have encountered person after person, story after story of people that have been through or are going through some like horrendous suffering. And it's like I watch them and they still have this certain peace to their life, this like baseline peace, this baseline joy, and they are claiming that it comes from their faith. And you know what happens? Like when I see that, it's just like, I want to be that. Like, how is a person so strong and so hopeful in the face of the most horrendous suffering? Not only is it inspiring, but man, it's like a shot of perspective. Like that particular suffering is not happening to me, and yet I am not anywhere close to that peaceful or that grateful for the things that I have. It's a wake-up call. So these people that I've surrounded myself continually call me back to the person that I know I can be. Reason number 3 ties into reason number 1 about Jesus capturing my attention, and it's that my faith really keeps me grounded. It keeps me focused on the thing that actually matters. And what I mean by that is so often have I been tricked into thinking that life is about my goals, my desires, the thing that I want, and me. I'm still being tricked. Like, have you ever tricked yourself into thinking that life was about these random arbitrary goals about money or your dream car or your dream job or the dream school or blah, blah, blah this or blah, blah, blah that. And then once you got your dream job or once you got your dream car or once you made $100,000 or once you made $5 million in revenue or this or that, once you got there, you still were left with this feeling or this question of, is this it? Okay, I just spent 2 years working and grinding, no sleep for my dream car or my dream job. And now I'm here, I have it. So why do I still feel empty? Or why do I still feel not satisfied? Like I've had too many of those experiences to know that life is not about these like random things that I want. Because I know I've proven it, like experience after experience of like me working my butt off, grinding, no sleep. And I just said like, if I can get here, then I'll be happier. And trust me, I've gotten to these places and I've met these random goals. I've succeeded in these random goals. And then I get there and I say like, is this it? And then I finally stop working and I stop grinding and I finally start getting some sleep and I start to ask myself real questions. I start to reflect. I start to pray and I start to realize that the thing I had wrong was that I was only focusing on me. I reached my random goals, but I had no one to share it with. It's my faith in the people around me that continually remind me that a full, happy, holy life is not going to come from pleasing every single one of my desires and then like working and grinding for these random goals. But a full, happy, peaceful, grateful life comes from living a life that's dedicated to God and others. And you know what? You can disagree, but I just have too many experiences of screwing this up that I know in the depths of my heart, the depths of my soul, that the more I give, the more I put others, especially my family and friends, before the thing that I want, the happier I get. And man, I am still screwing this up so much. Like, I have goals, I have things that I want to do, I have things that I want to reach. I want to become a better teacher, I want to become a better minister, I want to take the living person to new heights, I want to take my video career to new heights. But I know from my experiences, from my prayer, from the people and mentors that I trust, that all of those goals mean nothing if God and the service of others is not at the center of my entire life. Like, I think that's what Christians are talking about when they quote St. Francis in his prayer when he says, "It is in the giving that we receive." Another quote that I have for you, this time non-religious, was a quote from an author named Keith Ferrazzi. He wrote a book called Never Eat Alone. Really good book. I read it and it really helped me kickstart my business. The one theme that I picked out from that entire book could be summed up with this quote. And he says, "If you want to be successful, then work on making other people successful." And man, I can't tell you, that mindset of just working to make other people successful just kick-started my business. And yes, it seems like you're going to take a hit, but what I received in return was just unbelievable. And we won't go into the details of that. If you want an episode on that, then you just let me know. But it seems paradoxical, but you just have to trust that when you give or when you dedicate your life to others, it'll work out. It'll work out. The wave of generosity, the wave of support, the wave of love, the willingness to help for different projects, situations, family, and life is just unbelievable. So that's it. Those are some broad answers, and I wanted to give you kind of the foundation. I didn't even get to talk about sacraments. I didn't talk about Eucharist. I didn't talk about these things that are so powerful in my life, but that might be for another podcast. I wanted to give some basic foundational reasons why I believe in God so strongly. And I really wanted to try and reach people that are kind of wavering in their faith. I think that if you are seeking a faith life, it can be hard. I have so many friends, and I've encountered so many people that just don't know where to start. And I really wanted to talk about how my journey started at a retreat with people that really cared. So I guess my recommendation is to seek out someone that you look up to and ask them what retreat you can go on. So hopefully this was helpful, and I hope this brought you some value. If you think this could help someone, then shoot it their way, share it with them. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be right here with us.
Don't let me drown in my sorrow, and don't let me stay at the bottom. I feel like this hole is too deep to climb. I've been looking for a way out, but I settle for a peace of mind. Picking up the pieces of my life and hoping that I put together something right. Tell me all I got is all I need. Tell me you gon' help me stay and fight. The world tryna play with my soul. I'm just tryna find where to go. I'm tryna remember the way. I'm tryna get back to my home, but I can't do this on my own. That's why I'm just trusting in you, cause I don't know where else to go, and I don't know what else to do.
No, don't let the fear make you feel like you can't fight this on your own. You know I'll be there for you no matter where you go. You'll never be alone. No, just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end. But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. Just fight a little